Hey, Brat family, all my Stallion and Panther brothers and sisters, how are you guys? Listen, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for your patience. I was running late today. I had to run my dad down for some medical tests in Seattle. And just as a reference, I'm about 90 miles north of Seattle, and Seattle has one of the worst, if not the worst, traffic in the entire country. And everything just sort of slid sideways today. But I am Amy Zender. I am hosting Brat Chat. This is our third week, so thanks for tuning in. I am part of the very proud class of 1991, Go Stallions, and that's just a little reference there. But tonight we're going to talk about the reunion a little bit more. So a couple of weeks ago, Jen came on board and talked to us about the real basic stuff, where to go, what to do. And then we learned from Kenny last week, our webmaster and our membership chair. Basically, once we go to the website, what do we do when we get there? And so now that we've been to the website and we've joined and we did some voting and we've decided we're going to the reunion, let's talk a little bit more about the reunion. So I'm going to pull in Catherine Jones. She is our other co-chair for the reunion, working alongside Jen, and she's going to flesh out a few more of the fun details. And I've got to say, I just had a fabulous phone call with them yesterday about swag bags, and I'm just saying, I'm really excited for the swag bags, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to try to get her on here. So again, bear with me as I navigate the wonders of technology. And here we go. I hope you guys are all having, let's see, she's not on here yet, but she should be here pretty soon. So Catherine, when you tune in, let me know that you're here. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous Wednesday. I'm really excited about our membership. It's steadily rising, and so thank you for throwing us the love and support and all of that. And your board has been very busy behind the scenes, making sure that the reunion is getting buttoned up and that all the details are fleshing out. And considering that COVID is going on, everyone's throwing out questions, and they have just been masterminds at getting stuff fleshed out and explained. And boy, they're just way smarter than I am. And anyways, so while I wait for Catherine to come on, I'm here. If you guys have any fun questions or anything, let me. Oh, you're here. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to invite you in. Boys and girls, hold on. Oh, there we go. Voila. Oh, this is fabulous. Now I sound like a cornball. But I'm used to that. Are you there?
I am here.
Are we going to see more than your forehead?
I'm trying.
There we go. Hey.
I'm trying to prop my phone up on my laptop, and yeah.
I've got mine propped up too. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, this is Catherine Jones, class of what year?
92.
92, and
The
she is
final one.
the final class, and she is your other reunion chair, and she's going to flesh out some of the questions that have been coming our way about some more specific things regarding once you get there, what's going to happen, what can you look forward to, and that sort of thing. So Catherine, how are you today?
Good, but tired, but otherwise good, yeah.
I bet. You guys, so she breeds pugs, and one of her pug girls just had some pug puppies. And so Catherine's been on puppy watch now for quite some time. How many days now? 3, 4, 5 days?
6.
6 days. So
6 days out of 3 weeks.
They're the sweetest little munchkins ever. I mean, ever. So if you're interested in pugs, throw some love Catherine's way, and she'll give you all the details. Okay. Catherine, how many people do we have signed up for the reunion right now? Paid
right
members?
Now, rough numbers based on last year's purchases through Eventbrite and the purchases that have been made since we started ticket sales on the website. We're looking at roughly 114 attendees. with our COVID restrictions in place, we've had to do a few, had to make a few changes and set up a couple of parameters that we weren't anticipating. So what we've done for now with the venue is we've set aside an additional 100 tickets available. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay.
I have contingency plans in place should we get more than 100, or should it look like once we get another 75 tickets or so sold, we'll talk to the venue. We'll also see what's going on with COVID and vaccinations and where the state of Tennessee is at. We recently
Okay.
lifted all of our restrictions, so
Mhm.
now it's kind of going to be more of a personal safety decision than
Okay.
a government decision. So, but yeah, once we get another 75 tickets sold, we'll talk to the venue. We'll see what we can do about possibly opening up into a different space or expanding the space that we are currently booked for to allow for a few more people because they are going to maintain the company, the corporate decision is 6 people per table versus 10.
Okay.
So,
Right.
and those will stay in place beyond at this point. He
Okay.
said, our contact has told me, actually, he just told me a couple days ago, they will review, they've got a big event in late April. And based on what happens with that event, they'll review any parameters they have in place right now and make decisions moving forward for the summer. So that's kind of
Okay.
where we're at. But
Awesome.
we do
One.
have room blocks too that we need to consider.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And how many people have booked rooms so far?
So
Out
far,
of
we've had 60 people book rooms.
Okay.
So, and we like that leaves us with 50 rooms still available.
Awesome.
And so there, what I would advise is even if you're not sure if you're going to attend the reunion, book your room now because you can cancel that reservation up to 3 days prior to the event. Um,
Okay.
but that way, at least you have the hotel room within our block.
Yeah.
And then you can move
What's
from
the name of
there.
the hotel again?
It's the Inn at Opryland. It's a Gaylord property.
Okay.
If anybody's familiar with Nashville, Gaylord owns Opryland, the Opryland Hotel, Opry Mills Mall. So it is a Marriott hotel, managed and run by Marriott. So it's got the super comfy beds. It's got a very, very good restaurant. But because it's a Gaylord property, they work with the Opryland Hotel, which is about not even, I want to say it's across the street, but that's in country terms. So it's
Hmm.
maybe a 7-minute drive. Um,
Gotcha.
but they then work with the kitchen staff from that hotel as well as their own kitchen staff to deal with banquets and events like ours and things like that. So we're really
Okay.
excited because we're actually going to get to work with the chef from the Opryland Hotel
I mean,
instead
that's
of
so
the
cool.
staff. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty exciting,
Okay,
food
so
wise at
let
least.
me like walk me through a little bit. So I buy my ticket, I've got my room booked and I'm showing up on Thursday. So what could I expect in place for Thursday? Is it just sort of I'm on my own that night or what are some things people can expect when they show up on Thursday?
So what we wanted to try and do this time around, and something that I kind of noticed the last couple of reunions was something that I personally kind of missed, is you go, you register, like you arrive at the venue, you go to the table, you check off your name, you get your swag bag, you go to your room, and then there's really not a whole lot going on Thursday night. But that's because
Okay.
arrivals are pretty fluid. People start arriving, 3, 4 in the afternoon, all the way till 11, 12 o'clock at night. So what I thought would be fun to do is we have a hospitality room. So we'll have that set up with our tables where you can check in, check your name off, get your swag bag. But we want to set it up so that it's sort of like a cocktail party atmosphere. So we'll have most likely right now the plan is to have tea, coffee, iced tea, lemonade, Possibly a bar, but that's still in the works.
Okay.
But our hospitality room is adjacent to the hotel bar, so but we will be offering cold hors d'oeuvres, and because we really want to encourage people to kind of stick around and kind of meet and greet each other as everyone kind of arrives.
Right.
And the atrium is right outside, so you're not stuck in the hospitality room. You can come in, you can stay in there and talk. The hospitality room accommodates about 75 people. But then you can kind of mill out into the atrium area where there's some comfortable seating. The bar's right there, the pool's right there. So I kind of want to encourage just a casual get together, everybody kind
Right.
of just arriving, relaxing, saying hi, and just to kind of ease into things and get comfortable and enjoy yourselves instead of kind of going back to your room after you get there and twiddle your thumbs while you wait to get a text from whoever to see if they've arrived yet.
Gotcha.
So
So then Friday, so what can we expect on a Friday?
Nashville being Nashville, we weighed the pros and cons of setting up um, staged and planned activities. Um, and we realized that there is so much in the area that trying to pick one or two things to do and then coordinate the movement of people with buses and stuff to whatever was going to be bordering on nightmarish. So we actually opted to make it a free for all. What we will be doing is providing everyone with printouts. And actually, the week before the reunion, and this is where registering on the website is really important. The week before the reunion, what we'd like to do is actually email all the attendees the itinerary and the list of things to do. Um, that way you can kind of plan ahead. You can take a look and see, are you renting a car? Are you flying in? Are you driving in? Um, Uber and Lyft are really accessible in Nashville, so that's not an issue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so there's tons of options, but there is so much to do between the Pantheon, which actually, as cheesy as I thought it was going to be when we first moved here, I'm like, you've got to be kidding, seriously.
Right.
I was in
Yeah.
Europe. I'm not going to go to the Pantheon in the middle of southern United States. It is actually phenomenal. It is really
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Right.
We
No,
had a
it
great
totally is. I've
time,
been there. It's really
and
cool.
it
And
really is. And so we've got that. We've got the botanical gardens, which are gorgeous. Being the South, yes, unfortunately, a lot of our touristy type attractions are Civil War related. There are a lot of older plantations that are still being maintained by the Historical Society. Franklin is only 35-ish minutes down
mm-hmm.
I-65 from the hotel, and it's a charming, charming little the center of town itself. Of course, it's spread over the years, but the heart of Franklin is just this
Yeah.
beautiful older city with these gorgeous 19th century, so 18th and 19th century homes that are
Yeah.
maintained by the Historical Society and maintained, some of them still maintained by the families that have owned them since the 17 and 1800s.
It's
Um,
very Hallmark
it
ish,
really
like
is.
the Hallmark Channel movies when
Yeah,
you go to
it
Franklin.
really is. If you've ever
Yeah.
seen Heart of Dixie, the TV show, it's very
Yes.
similar to that kind of vibe, but
I
it's very
agree.
relaxed. They've kind of, it's really mellow. They've really brought in a lot of independent small restaurants, things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a brewery bar, there's Irish pubs. I mean, just anything and everything food wise that you can find in terms of like different types of restaurants. And just walking around downtown is beautiful and a lot of fun and super charming because there's the little boutiques and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's downtown Nashville itself. There's Broadway, there's
Right.
all the honky tonks.
Live
I
music galore, right?
Live music pretty much 24/7. Miranda
Exactly.
Lambert's new restaurant is opening up. I believe her current opening date is July 1st. And so she's going to have a new one, and it's a Tex-Mex restaurant, which is kind of new for Broadway.
Yeah.
So she's really stoked about that. I was lucky enough to live in Leaper's Fork for a few years before we moved here, which is just outside of Franklin. And so we
Hmm.
got to kind of get to know a lot of the country music community. And so it's kind of neat to see what all they have and how much of them they really pour into these honky tonks and the music scene itself. And
Right.
there's bus tours to take. There's comedy bus tours, there's regular bus tours, and they're really fairly inexpensive. They're about $20 a person.
Okay.
And so we'll provide all of that information for everyone so that they can decide kind of what they want to do and what they want to see.
I want to interject too that one of the things that you all had discussed, which I thought was really um, brilliant, and I want to share with everybody watching too. Getting an email prior to the event just to save on one cost of printing paper, and two, it's environmentally friendly, and so people can print out the pages that they actually want to keep with them on their travels, and we can definitely send that out. And I believe as we get closer, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, did we discuss we might take the itinerary and some of those places of interest that people might want to go see? We might get that up on the website, maybe under our reunion. As we get closer, we can do that so people can refer to it if they don't want to just, excuse me,
Yes.
print out anything.
Yeah, we want to put
Okay.
as much information for everybody prior to, just to give you guys a chance to really plan on that weekend and plan on what you're doing and decide whether you want to stay an extra day or two or arrive a day or two early, depending on, what you
Or
want to
pick an
do,
event and gather
or
some
pick an
friends and
event.
yeah, and
Exactly.
say, hey, let's all go do this thing. Real quick, I'd
Exactly.
like to interject because I think you'd be great at answering this question. We have Deb Varney watching, and she's brought up a couple of really good questions. And Jen did bring these up a couple of weeks ago, but I thought you could touch on them again. She's asking about how are we accommodating mask wearing and what kind of safety features are going to be present here at the reunion and that sort of thing. So how do we anticipate the hotel will help us keep everybody safe? And I know right at the beginning you touched on instead of 10 people per table, which is sort of normal, we're now at 6 people per table, and there's going to be hand sanitizing stations. Can you, elaborate a little bit more so we can make sure
Sure.
our folks watching feel comfortable?
Um, we will be following CDC guidelines. I'm immunocompromised myself, so that is something that's very important to me. Um, we and the property itself currently does require, while indoors, that masks be worn when not seated and eating or drinking. Um, Stay in smallish groups. We will
Hmm.
be currently, we're set to eat in the atrium, which is open. It's not an enclosed ballroom, it's actually an open space. It's actually really pretty, in the center of the hotel. And then we'll be moving into the ballroom for our Friday and Saturday night activities, which will
Right.
be karaoke and DJ and dancing. Um, so masks are to be worn while inside unless you're eating. The buffet dinner on Friday night will not be self-service buffet. They will have staff stationed at each buffet station
The
serving,
service.
doing the serving. Saturday will be a served plated dinner. The staff will all be wearing masks, so even though we'll be seated and not necessarily have our masks on any longer since we're at our tables,
Right.
um, we're trying to, it's really hard to say. We don't want to encourage people to mill around and go from table to table to table, but my encouragement would be during the meal time, kind of stay within your table and save the milling and socializing for once we move into the ballroom. Um,
Okay.
and the ballroom is going to be kind of a weird situation. So once we're inside the ballroom and we have um, either the karaoke Friday night or the dancing Saturday night,
Hmm.
the rule is that masks need to be worn.
Okay.
However, dancing with a mask on may be a little difficult.
Right.
So we're going to kind of have to figure out how we need to work that situation.
Right. And perhaps
And
leave some of that to people's comfort level as well.
exactly. I mean, we're all old enough to have some common sense. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is allowing common sense to prevail. Um, Fortunately, all the states in general seem to be moving through the vaccine clusters fairly quickly. Um,
Hmm.
and so hopefully by the time July comes around, we'll all have been vaccinated, which, although it doesn't provide immunity, is going to provide that extra layer of safety. So
Yeah.
um, we'll also be, like you said, there will be some hand sanitizing stations around. We're actually toying with the idea of providing hand sanitizer in the swag bag with a logo on it, if we can find a vendor to do that. Just for some fun, why not? All of the distilleries in Tennessee made really fun hand sanitizers, so why can't we?
Hmm.
Um, and
Same up here.
then, yeah, exactly.
You
So,
just all smell like
um,
vodka everywhere.
yeah, for us, it's. I'm surprised
Yeah,
that we haven't run out of whiskey because of the amount of hand sanitizer,
I know.
but I guess that's a
I
good
know.
thing.
So,
So, but yeah,
it sounds like we're a little bit, we're going to be following CDC, we're going to follow some rules at the hotel, and then also employ some common sense and that sort of thing. Because I think Tennessee right now is still, they still have some social distancing rules and things like that. And that's going to ebb and flow certainly as we get closer. So, these kinds of details we will hopefully continue to, keep relevant as we move through our weeks of Brat Chat, and we can post updates on some of our precautions on the website, especially as we get closer, in the reunion tab.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we want
that
to
sounds
try and
right.
make as much available on the website, on the reunion tab, as we can, just to keep
Yeah,
everybody kind of informed with what's going on. On
exactly.
the
Seamless,
event
seamless
that was,
information.
yeah, and then the event page that Patricia created on Facebook will post the itinerary, and the POIs there, points of interest. So they'll be
Hmm.
posted there, as well as the website, to give everybody a reference point, as well as, like I said, emailing everyone out. But that doesn't
Right,
mean that we won't be supplying printed copies of the
right,
itinerary. And however, what we would like to do is reduce how many of those we have. So if you don't print one out, or if you forgot your copy, let us know. It'll go in your binder that goes into your swag bag. Um, but we'd like to kind of minimize, instead of printing 300 copies of the itinerary, print 120 or something like that, and then have a master copy available too.
of course. So a couple of other questions I was thinking about. So you mentioned like having a buffet style dinner on Friday
Mhm.
night. Do we kind of know our genre of food?
It'll be German food. The
Yay!
chef at the Gaylord did actually train in Vienna. He spent
Oh,
several years over there. I know, I was so excited when I heard that. You have no
that's
idea.
amazing. So we know
um,
he can make some spätzle then,
so
right?
we do know that he
Because
can make. Well, see, now spätzle, we're gonna have to be pretty picky about this. I think I'm gonna have to demand several taste tests leading up to this thing.
I hope
Really, it's
so.
just the
I mean,
food,
I hope so. And
but
we'll have full reports here in Brat Chat.
Um, so yeah, it's going to be German themed. We'll actually be in May. We'll be meeting with our coordinator, as well as the restaurant
Okay.
coordinator, to go over menu options and choices. A lot of it'll have to boil down to what's going to be the easiest to serve to a larger group of people without it
Right.
affecting the quality. Again, Gaylord's reputation is a big thing for them. So
Right.
making sure that the quality and the standards are still maintained is going to be important to them, which in the long run benefits us. So um,
Absolutely. And
we'll
then
have
and then after dinner, you mentioned
we are going to
karaoke.
have karaoke. And that's
And the
kind of, I think, a
karaoke, though.
reunion tradition. But we're going to add a twist.
Thank you.
Um,
I was hoping you were going to say that.
so instead of it just being plain, regular, everyday karaoke, if you've signed up for a song, so let's say your song is Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, and you go up and you sing it, and your name is on there, your karaoke ticket is going to have your name, but also your class decade, not necessarily your year. Um, we may do year. We're not quite. I haven't ironed out the full breadth of these, but either your class decade or the year you graduated will also be on that ticket. And the reason for that is that at some point during the 4-hour karaoke session, your name will be called and you will sing a song from that decade. You're not going to know what that song is. You have zero idea, but you will be called to sing a song from that decade. So just to make it kind of fun, we're adding, it's called karaoke roulette. And I've done it before at different events and it's a blast. It's absolutely hilarious. One year I got stuck singing the Monster Mash at a Halloween event. So it really is a lot of fun.
Right. And this is
And you
when
can,
I insist we ask the classes of the 60s, the 80s, and the 90s to start practicing now and brush up on your lyrics because the 70s are going to
oh,
come
they're
to play.
kicking. They are. 70s is definitely, they've always made a fantastic showing at every reunion. So,
Right. Yeah.
and this is certainly no exception. We're
Hmm.
seeing the most registrants from the 70s. The 90s are actually doing better this time around than they were in Kansas City, which is good. So
That's
we'd like to
great.
see some more 90s represented. I know it's the hard thing with the 90s is it's only 2 years instead of 10. So we kind of lose out because well, 3 years because we get 90, 91, and 92,
Right.
whereas the classes of 70s and 80s get the entire decade to themselves. So
You know,
it's
that's
going to be
okay. We can
hard for
represent,
us to kind of
albeit
get
small.
there, but
We can do
I
it.
think we should.
We can do it.
Exactly. Small and mighty, but I think we can definitely kind of pick it up. And I
Yeah,
think
I agree with you,
most
Jen.
of us,
So then on Saturday, again, we're gonna have some more playtime
yep.
and friendship and Gemütlichkeit. We're gonna have all the fun stuff, and but that's more of our dinner. And there's gonna be a small program within the dinner, around the dinner. Is my memory there?
We'll have the regular association meeting will be at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning
And
in the
who can attend that?
hospitality suite. Anyone can attend. It's basically just going to be the board of directors. We meet, we discuss.
Mhm.
Nominations for the next reunion location are being made at that time. Um, and then Saturday night, we'll have dinner and then we'll have a smaller presentation. We'll actually be, since this is an election year, and our election years will always coincide with a reunion for this reason. So
Okay.
since this is an election year on Saturday night, we will be introducing the new board of directors to
Okay.
to the attendees and to the association as a whole. We'll announce the winners in April, but
Okay.
from April till the reunion is kind of the transition time. So the newly
Okay.
elected board members will start attending our monthly meetings, but then I also serve as treasurer currently. So when I say our, that's why I'm saying our. I'm also the registered agent for the associate and the finance chair. I'm not sure how I ended up in this position, really,
A
but
woman of many hats.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure
so
a
then
hangover played a big part in it.
you
um,
got voluntold.
I
Okay,
did.
so so while we're in Nashville, so we discussed yesterday that because we're not doing some organized activities and events, but there is just a plethora of things to do and places to go and things to see that we might get some discounts. We might have some opportunities to get some discounts. Do we think that might come through? And the second part of that question is, I know many of us are fighting some COVID, uh, extra COVID. I don't. should I pack a bathing suit? Is there a pool? Are we going to have an opportunity to catch some sun? What do you
I
think?
would pack a bathing suit. The hotel has an indoor pool.
I
Um,
probably will not, but
yeah, but I don't know. And Gaylord Opryland has a brand new, what did they call it? Water feature. They're not calling it a water park. We had a long conversation about this with the property manager.
that just sounds
So
so funny.
I don't know why they didn't want it to be synonymous with like Six Flags or anything like that, but it is
Oh,
this huge. There's a slide that comes off the roof of the hotel, and I mean, it's massive. It looks like it's a lot of fun. It's huge. It was scheduled to open in 2018. I think it got pushed back a few months, but from
okay.
everything I've heard, it is open. It's ready to go. Well, it's not open because it's March, but it will be open in July. Um, I have not received an answer from our contact at the hotel about whether or not we will be getting discounts.
Okay.
To enter being guests since it is a Gaylord property. And he wasn't sure actually of how that worked. So he
Okay.
was reaching out to the primary Gaylord property to find out exactly how that works and what our perks would be. But one perk we do get staying at the Inn at Opryland is their Wild Horse Saloon in downtown Nashville on Broadway.
Mhm.
Um, Normally has a $20 cover charge. That cover charge is waived if you present your room key. So as a guest of the hotel, you have no
That's
cover at
sweet.
the Wild Horse. The Wild Horse is one of those honky tonks downtown where you never know who's going to get up and sing. You could be sitting
Mhm.
there listening to a fairly new country artist who, came from the backwoods of Mississippi, who's looking for her dream, and 2 minutes later, Keith Urban's on the stage singing. Um, or any number, Blake Shelton, I mean, you name it, Chris
Right.
Stapleton, they've all kind of just made pop-up surprise appearances. The
Okay.
Bluebird is also another one of those. And so those are all like things you kind of want to look for. And that's if you're going to do anything, obviously that happens more at night than during the day.
Mhm.
So if you really want to, if you're going to do anything nightlife wise, Thursday night is your night to do that
Okay.
without
Good
it
to know.
being too super crowded. Fridays and Saturdays, downtown Nashville's a zoo and a meat market.
Right. Okay.
It's,
Oh,
I mean,
good.
and it's
Uh,
become a huge destination for bachelorette parties and bachelor parties. And so Fridays and Saturday nights, that's when
okay.
the young 21 and 22-year-olds descend on Broadway.
The amateurs. The
Yeah,
amateurs come out.
pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amateur night.
yeah, yeah.
You need say no more.
Um,
We all went to school
so
in Germany. We're professionals. Come on now.
yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I mean, but the nice thing is Nashville. I mean, there's a reason we call it Nash Vegas. It's, we just
Right.
don't sleep. It's country music, all country all the time, and there's no sleeping involved. So, and it seems like they've
Understood.
bounced back. So it's been really nice to see Nashville as a whole kind of pull together between the tornado that hit Nashville in March and then COVID 2 weeks later, the bomb on Christmas Day. And
Right.
Nashville, just as a community and as a city, it didn't stop them. They fixed it and, went back in and rebuilt, and neighbors came out and did the sweeping and the mopping and put it
Right.
all back together, and we didn't miss a beat. We didn't let it stop us. And so that's been kind of nice to see as things are starting to open back up, to see everybody kind of doing their thing. I like watching it. I'm still not,
Yeah.
my toes aren't quite ready to go back into the fray and be in like super crowded situations just yet, but
Hmm. Right.
it's nice to see that
Right.
that momentum is still there.
So speaking of that, because I'm really glad that's a great segue because you were talking about so our event is in July, and obviously so much is going to change between now and July. That's 4 months. So, maybe some new discounts will become unlocked that we can feature, down the road. And health restrictions and COVID protocol certainly is going to adjust in that time as more people become vaccinated and the world settles down just a smidge and everything. So, just to kind of cover a couple of logistics, like what is our last day to purchase a ticket? When do things become non-refundable? How many tickets do we have left? What are some of those details then to kind of get people really going, putting this on their calendar of, I need to take care of this over the next couple of
Um,
weeks?
Absolutely last day to buy a ticket. Absolute last, no ands, ifs, or buts about
Last
it is
day,
June 20th. Absolutely last day is June
June
20th.
20th.
Um, Again, because of COVID, we've had to make some adjustments to ticketing and things like that.
Yeah,
And as much as we had really, and we agonized both as a committee and with the board, we really agonized over whether or not it was a good idea to have the reunion this year. And a lot of what forced our hand was the venue saying no, sorry. We gave you a pass last year. We didn't
yeah,
charge you any penalties, but if you cancel this year, sorry. And the
mhm,
penalty was really, really stiff.
yeah,
Um,
it was.
so given that, we said, okay, what can we do to make things a little bit easier and move a little more fluidly, especially with things as they change going into the
Mhm,
summer months and everything else. And so instead of having a June 1st deadline for ticket sales, which is what it was last year, we've been able to move it to June 20th and push back our date with the venue to give hard numbers, to allow us that extra time.
that's
So
fair.
June 20th is the final purchase date. However, because we will still be subject to some, although much smaller penalties, should we
Mhm.
not meet certain goals, the non-refundable date is May 16th. So any purchases made between May 16th and June 20th are non-refundable and final. Any purchases
Mhm.
made prior to that will be refundable,
Okay.
um,
Right.
until May 16th. After May 16th, that's it. No refunds anywhere. So if you
Right.
want to buy your ticket now and think you're going to go, but then something happens at the beginning of May and you realize that you're not quite where you want to be and you're not quite ready to go back out, you
Yeah.
can still cancel. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, we're really trying to work and take everybody into consideration as best we can while
Right.
still making, a fun event and not bankrupting the association.
No, I know. And just having sat in on a couple of the meetings, I just want to let everybody know, I know that had to have been a really difficult conversation because the world felt like it was falling apart. This event was super exciting. People have been looking forward to it, and you guys worked so hard. And I mean, we competed against you up here in the Northwest to have it here.
Yes, you
And
did.
and it was like, okay, well, I'm going to give it over to you guys, obviously. But everybody was so excited. And then the world just sort of shut down and it fell apart and everything was very hard and heavy and emotional. And you guys just picked up all these pieces and slowly put everything back together for everyone. And I wanted, just on behalf of me, and I know everyone watching who's not on the committee, just thank you for putting safety first, especially, with everything, and then continuing to monitor the situation as it evolves, but certainly being sensitive to the number of components. I mean, there's so many working parts. You have your people who are vaccinated, they're ready to go now, and then you have everyone else waiting for vaccines, and you know it's summertime. People might need to adjust their family schedules because they didn't get anything they didn't get family vacations last year. So, we're going to lose some people who would have come last year, certainly. And I just think you've done a phenomenal job. And you and Jen and everyone who's been working with you, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. And I'm really hoping that things work out. Like, we just need to figure out where my son is going to go to college so I can just exhale and decide, am I sending him off in June or am I going to send him off in August? If I can know that answer, then I can, get excited for the reunion. But thank you for working so hard, you and
It's
Jen.
been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, but we've got a
Yeah,
great group
sure.
of committee members. There's 5 of us on the committee, so six of us, 6 of us on the
Mhm.
committee, and we've kind of been going back and forth and staying in touch through Facebook. We've had a couple of meetings in town at the venue to go over a few things. There's been some changes staff-wise at the venue that we've had to kind of adjust to.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm really impressed with how the venue has been handling things. And I understand where they're coming from, not allowing us to push again, because it
Yeah, of
is a
course.
fairly large event for them. Um, and so I get where they're coming from, but I also want to make sure that, yes, that safety is going to be one of our top priorities, and making
And I
sure that
mean,
everybody's going to be comfortable while they're there. And Marriott's got excellent, excellent hygiene protocols and stuff in place. We
right.
stayed delivering puppies and stuff over the course of COVID and taking some of our girls to stud. We've had a chance to kind of drive a little bit. We haven't really strayed too far from home, but um, we usually stay at Marriott properties. It's just, I really like the service I get from them. It's,
Yeah.
a company that I'm really impressed with, always have been, and their
Mhm.
beds are really comfortable. And, and after a
Excellent
12-hour
news.
car drive.
Excellent
Um,
news.
but the last time we were at a Marriott property, the rooms are absolutely immaculate. They provide disinfecting wipes, they provide disinfecting spray, they provide hand sanitizer.
Mhm.
They provide you with disposable masks in your room should you not bring one. They have disposable
Nice.
masks at the door before you come into the property should you not have one. Um,
Good.
so they're really, they've adjusted their lobby and spacing, things like that. So I've been very comfortable going into their properties, even using their Starbucks. So I've been really impressed with how they've adjusted. And it's been, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent throughout
Mhm.
the various, like when I'm going from Tennessee to Pennsylvania and I'm staying at one in Kentucky, one in Pennsylvania, and it's not an inconsistent, oh, this one's doing this and this one's not. They've really
Right.
made sure that the corporate as a whole has been, this is what our
Right. And
plan is
staying
and
on
this is what
brand.
we're doing. So,
Right. Oh, listen, thank you so much for all this information. And I know that more questions are going to come up, especially as people get more interested and more excited. And there's going to be more details still coming out. We're still 4 months out, which is, in event time, 4 months is like a year practically in terms of all the
yeah.
different changes and bits are going to come out. So we're probably not going to do a reunion check-in for another month or so. We're going to let some people get excited, come on board, and for all you watching and all for you who catch us on replay, so you just have to hashtag replay right down below, so we can kind of know that you're part of our fan club. Just if you have a question that we haven't covered yet, by all means drop it, and then we'll get one of the amazing committee members to answer it for you. And then as we shift further toward the reunion and we get a little bit more information completely solidified, we're going to throw some stuff up on the website so that you guys can really follow along in real time. And then the committee's just, going to be sending out an email, and all that stuff will come, it'll be forthcoming as we get closer. I think they've put so much thought into, how to be environmentally conscious and then COVID safe, as well as fun and save a little money here and there, because we are still blooming. And but anyway, so next week, Brat Chat, Wednesday, 5 p.m. for Pacific people, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see you guys a
One
little bit.
thing though, Amy,
Yeah. Yeah.
the committee is available for questions anytime. Kenny did set up an email for us. I think it's reunions@sas.org. It's
Okay.
whatever and
Let's put that in the let's put that in our comments so people can copy that if they need it for sure.
and the email to reach the reunion committee is also listed on the website. So if you ever have any individual questions about stuff, things like that,
Okay.
don't
And
hesitate to
somebody has a
reach
little bit
out.
more of a private, yeah, it's a great way
Yeah.
to offer up a private question that you're just a little uncomfortable with making public, then that's
Yep.
a great way. So let's drop that in our comments when we shut down tonight and bid farewell, then we will put that in the comment section and you guys can, you know, email to your heart's content. I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you, Catherine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, brothers, sisters, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, thank you for your patience tonight. Thank you for letting me run late. I had family. And if you're the praying kind of people, just throw a few extra up for my dad. That would be great. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Love you guys. Take care.
Thanks for having me
Bye.
on, Amy.
Thanks,
Bye.
hon. Bye.